we know, has broken her silence over her relationship with former Deputy PM Barnaby Joyce. That TV interview, which was about $150K going into their pockets, well, at least to their sons, Vikki made the shocking claim that Barnaby's colleagues pressured her to terminate her pregnancy.
So they came to me, they said, you're pregnant. And you have to get an abortion. And I said, yeah, it's too late. It has a heartbeat. And they said if you don't, they're going to come after you.
Right, well, let's wade into this one with today's take on Shelley Horton from 9honey.com.au and comedian Mikey Robbins. Shelley, I mean, there's not really much to say about that story, but let's talk about the overall part of this interview where they wanted to get people off their back. Do you think that's going to help?
I've never seen more two unlikable people on one TV screen. It was train wreck to watch it. They had terrible body language. I think if she's paid as a media advisor, she should not be in her job because she did a terrible job in this interview.
And a former journalist.
And a former journalist. They didn't even have their stories straight. I think that was the whole crocodile tears of like, and then they asked me to have an abortion when she'd already gone into an abortion clinic and considered herself. I think it was just them going, we'll get the public on our side if we say that, you know, the National Party was going to force me to have an abortion. They didn't think it through. I think it was just horrible, and I'm so, so sorry for his wife, his daughters, and Seb.
Yeah.
Look, personally, I just miss Boo and Pistol. Remember the good old days? Remember the good old days of Boo and Pistol when Barnaby was fun and it wasn't this sort of sad train wreck that you vaguely look at. In fact, when I say vaguely look at, when I looked at the ratings for the show last night and how much Vikki and Barnaby got paid, works out around about $4.25 per viewer. Which is not great economics, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And they got to say, I don't want to answer that question. I think they should have had their fee deducted for every question they didn't answer.
Well, there's a lot of questions about the fact that there weren't the questions asked.
Well, yeah.
And
What about the fact they created a job for her in the National Party that when she left did not exist anymore? So that is taxpayers' money. So that in itself is the number one question, and it wasn't asked.
And the other thing too is, as much as Barnaby says he doesn't want to harm the coalition, the animosity between him and Malcolm Turnbull, it's as thick as custard, and custard is thick. But yet, it's obviously not harming the coalition. I mean, let's face it, we're looking at the Libs Nats winning 2 by-elections, which quite frankly the government hasn't done since 1911 in this country. So Barnaby's sort of, you know, taking his train set, his bat and ball and going home is not working. It's like he has managed to disassociate himself from the coalition, and people are just looking at him as a side order of messiness. The biggest fear within the coalition is that he might come back to Parliament early.
Well, we'll see what happens at the election in his seat and see how voters react in the wake of all this.
All right, also making news is the State of Origin. It kicks off on Wednesday. Mikey is ecstatic. But organisers are under fire over the price of the tickets. See, when the Maroons play the Blues at Suncorp Stadium, a family of 4 can expect to pay anywhere from $345 to $825.
For a family of 4.
With general admission tickets already sold out. This is a huge cost, Mikey, which means attending the game for families out there, working families, that's going to put them out of the price range.
Well, also, too, let's also factor into that, if you're taking the car, which don't, take public transport, you've got to factor in parking.
Food.
And then also, too, food ain't cheap out there as well. No. If you want to feed the kids and if, you know, mum and dad want to have a couple of wines and beers while they watch the game, it's expensive. But here's the other thing, too, and this is one of the weird things that people don't know about rugby league. Even though rugby league was invented around about 40 years before television, it was invented tailor-made to look good on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Rugby league is played within the left side and the right side of the TV screen. Unlike soccer and AFL, where it's follow the ball. And look, the NRL's going to hate me for saying this, but it's so comfy on the couch.
Yeah, well, look, Channel 9 won't be when we play, but that's...
We love hearing that, Mikey.
It's so comfy. You can make your own little toasty at half-time.
Wear your little beanie in your room. What do you reckon,
what do you think, Shel?
Look, I'm a Queenslander, so I'm not really into sport, but it is part of my blood to be part of the State of Origin.
It's part of your hair.
It is certainly part of my hair. So I will definitely be, you know, supporting Queensland. Do I think it's too expensive? Yes, I absolutely.
Yeah, you've got to make it affordable for the families.
It really does, and it has to be one of those things where it's either a family game or it's not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they've made the decision to not make it a family game by making it this expensive.
Well, let's face it, ever since like the mid-90s, the main emphasis at footy stadiums has been corporate boxes.
Yeah.
That's their bread and butter these days. It's expensive corporate boxes, and families come last.
And go the Blues Wednesday night. That'll be happening.
Oh, yeah.
And please, no bunnies get injured. No rabbitohs get injured.
Damn, it's so hot in here now that you've
When
just
we
opened
come
up that can.
back, Britain's Got Talent judge Simon Cowell will reveal how he has given up his phone, a bit like Elton John has, for 10 months now. Could you? That's the question. Don't miss it. Britain's Got Talent judge Simon Cowell has revealed that he gave up his phone for 10 months. He claims the experiment has made him a happier person and also improved his overall mental health.
You can see it on his face. Let's get today's take on this with Shelley Horton and Mikey Robbins. Shelley, Simon says he ditched the phone because it came too distracted by it. You went on a digital detox recently,
did.
you told me. How did you go, and could you go 10 months to a year?
No, I could not. I did do it for 1 week, and it was like I was scratching in my arms like a junkie. I missed it so much, which in itself is a bad
So what,
sign.
that was gone? You didn't use the phone at all?
Yeah, there was no Wi-Fi.
Did
I was
you
at
have a
retreat.
laptop? Oh,
No,
nothing?
nothing. And what I found was, after about 3 days, I didn't miss it as much, and then I started being more creative and having great conversations. And you do find that you hide behind your phone. Could I do it for 10 months? No, I have a job and I have to, be in touch. I mean, it's easy for cranky Simon. He probably has a personal assistant who's answering all of his calls and sorting his life out. But this is part of our job now. However, I would say that it is something that we need to cut back on, and I've come straight back in and addicted again.
Actually, Shelley, I've seen photos of you on at that resort, trying to swipe left on a coconut.
Yeah,
just anything.
Holding it, trying to get a bar somewhere.
Somewhere.
I mean, but exactly, you make the point. Like the other famous person that gave up their mobile phone years ago was Elton John.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got a dozen people, if you can afford someone to do your flower arranging, you've probably got someone that answers your emails and calls.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us, we need our phones.
But it is interesting that the heads of a lot of these big tech companies are all saying that they themselves, switch off and, they advise people to not use it so much.
Well, I must admit, we were talking about this during the break. I've been cooked for a couple of weeks, and I did not pick up my phone for a day or two, and I was
too unwell.
It was lovely. It was lovely. I haven't been on Twitter for 3 weeks, and then I went, oh, now I've got a sore throat, but I'll take a Difflam.
Finally, kitchens could soon be a thing of the past. Stay with me. According to furniture giant IKEA, stay with me. The room we use every day will be gone in about a decade. As Australia's population grows, the size of our homes will reduce.
It's Joe Abbey
There's
cooking
Joe
up a
Abbey's
storm.
home.
It's Joe.
And there's a woman who's just waiting to walk into that room. It means that communal kitchens will soon become the norm, like we're at camp, Mikey. So apartments will be fitted, and then there'll just be one common area on each floor, I guess, that we all go to cook and eat at.
Well, actually, it's funny because the modern kitchen is an invention pretty much of the 20th century. Particularly in working class or middle class houses, there was an area in the house where there was a sink. It was usually where you ate as well. Had an open fireplace, and when you think of baking, every culture from the tagine in the Middle East through to Lancashire hot pot, they were all invented. So what you would do is you would take you would make it in the morning, you'd give it to the baker to put in the oven once they finished baking bread in the morning, then you'd pick it up on the way home from work. So the idea of a kitchen as we know it is only around about 100 years old.
Look at you with this knowledge of the history of kitchens. I'm dazzled.
You know why? Because as a teenager, I was always in the kitchen at parties.
Well, yeah, don't we both?
What about
do
you,
reckon?
Shel?
Would they ever disappear?
I actually don't use the kitchen that much. I use the microwave to heat up ready-made meals.
Home delivery is huge
I
these days.
have home delivery. I don't bake cakes.
What do you
don't
use
bread.
your oven for?
If I need it to do like roast vegetables or something, but it's not all the
store your
time.
slippers
So
in
I honestly,
Store your shoes in your hand.
I could probably do a communal kitchen.
I have a friend in New York who's a photographer who uses his oven to store his jeans.
Well,
Yeah.
He keeps his jeans in there.
Well, let us
Make use of the
know.
space.
Go onto Facebook and Twitter. How do you use your kitchen? Do you think you'll give it up in 10 years' time? Mikey and Shelley, great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Now, coming up on Today Extra, a warning to all dog